Hello and welcome to the Channel 1 Newsroom from our studios at number 50 Lahansen Lane at Tesano in Accra. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Coming up, Vice President of Imani Africa, Bright Simons, confirms return of Ghana's presidential jet after 8 months of repair works in France. Health Minister Commemorating announces full operationalization of Ghana Health Information Management System GIMS at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital.
We took a bold decision that the state cannot continue to beg, so we have to solve the situation. What is the solution? The state must own its own software, and this is exactly what we are doing at the moment.
Chiefs and people of Agodeke in the Front Plains North District call for urgent government intervention as faulty ferry disrupts business and travel.
And this is where people travel to Bando Toko. And then the means of traveling is by using the ferry. And it is rather unfortunate that for 1 month, 2 weeks now, the engine of the ferry has broken down and the ferry is no longer working. And this has posed a lot of threats to travelers who travel by.
Overcrowding in classrooms as a result of inadequate infrastructure stalling academic progress at Avweme Basic School.
Some classrooms have over 100 students in a classroom. I mean, really, what kind of teaching can go on in that environment? So it's a headache that we've carried for a long time, and I thank God for the opportunity to do something about it.
We're grateful that you join us for the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 Television. We start off with the health sector now, and Health Minister Kwabena Minta Akando has announced that the Ghana Health Information Management System GIMS is now actively in use at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. A sudden shutdown of the previous Lightwave Health Information Management System LIMS through service delivery at the facility off balance as the entering of patients' data manually prolonged waiting time. Central Regional Correspondent Akwesi Ado has more in the following report.
The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital reverted to the recording of patient data manually following an unexpected shutdown of the Lightwave Health Information Management System LIMS last week Sunday. This caused a glitch in service delivery, particularly at the facility's outpatient department, increasing waiting time for patients significantly. Following the shutdown, the hospital's administration announced that plans were underway to activate the new Health Information Management System GIMS. During a visit to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, where he toured key departments on Friday, the Minister of Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, announced that the facility had successfully transitioned to the GIMS platform. He said the move to replace LIMS with GIMS forms part of government's decisive move to secure a state-owned electronic information management system that protects patient data and aids efficient service delivery.
At that point, I was receiving feedback from all of you that the system kept disrupting off and on, all of you. We were left at the mercy of the vendor, apologizing, begging him, oh, Brian, show my why. States, we're begging. And so there and then, we took a bold decision that the state cannot continue to beg. So we have to solve the situation. What is the solution? The state must own its own software. And this is exactly what we are doing at the moment. And then again, the state must have a middleware where any vendor can plug in. And the emergency we find ourselves in now, we cannot go the long route now. But I can assure you, out of the 950, there's a certain 500 that has not been connected. And that 500 will open it up for those in the sector to bid and connect.
The health minister also announced that rigorous reforms are being implemented in the health sector. He says one of such decisions is to post 80% of new doctors to the districts to ensure equitable distribution of human resource.
One of such decisions is to post not less than 80% of our new doctors to the districts.
and over the past 1 week or so, have come under strong and serious pressure. I mean, people are calling left, right, center. Some people want to come to UGMC, Kolebu, and we have insisted that we will only advertise where there are vacancies. The cities are choked. I can assure you that almost 50% of our medical doctors we have in this country are in Accra.
Both patients and practitioners can now have a sigh of relief. For the Channel One Newsroom, I am Akwesi Ado, Central Region.
Let's move on to some other stories. Now, Ghana's presidential jet has finally returned home after 8 months of maintenance work in France. The vice president of Imani Africa, Bright Simmons, has revealed. In a post on X, formerly Twitter, Mr. Simmons stated that Ghana's presidential jet has been delivered safely back into the custody of the Ghana Air Force since Monday, the 10th of November, exactly 8 months after it was sent to the Dassault Falcon Service MRO base at Paris-Le Bourget. He explained that the aircraft underwent a compulsory maintenance exercise during its stay in France. According to him, technicians discovered significant issues during the inspection, which required extensive repairs. So let's remain with this particular story and go via Zoom now and speak to Executive Secretary of the Bureau of Public Safety, Nana Yakwada. Nana, you're welcome to Channel One Newsroom. So it's good news that our aircraft is back, but it has been a big deal. The question on the lips of many people is whether we should take the safety of the aircraft seriously, considering all the things that have been said by the Defense Ministry in the past.
Well, good evening to your viewers. I think it's good news to hear that the jet is back. But before we can make any concrete statements on its safety or otherwise, it's very important that we have, an independent certification, body to let us understand, objectively what was, established in relation to what the Ghana Armed Forces communicated to us, what kind of safety audit or certifications the aircraft, or maintenance routine that the aircraft went through. Then we'll be able to appreciate and then concretely say, well, it is safe for the president to use. I think in the absence of that, everything else will be rumor and rhetoric. We need to have a full disclosure in the scope of work that was done, the certifying bodies involved, and the post-repair airworthiness status. Then we can say this, concretely, objectively, without any shadow of doubt. But until then, everything else should be treated as, hearsay.
There's a view that let's purchase a new one. Let's not keep repairing, considering that it keeps becoming faulty, taken back, and all of that. Would you say that this is sufficient reason for us to start thinking of buying a new aircraft for the president?
This question is a tricky one, Umaru, because I believe that the aircraft, I understand, is about 10 years old. And in aviation, 10 years old aircraft is relatively young, okay? Most commercial airlines and even the Air Force One is over 2 decades old. Most commercial airlines are operating 15, 20, 25 plus years, and they are still in good standing. What is important is the kind of maintenance regime that is followed. The people who are performing those maintenance, are they people accredited by the manufacturer to, maintain this aircraft? Are they following manufacturer maintenance schedules? Those are the important things. But if we jump out of all of these and then go on to a new aircraft, what happens is that the same culture, and I'm not assuming that we're not maintaining this aircraft by manufacturer's dictates, okay? But assuming we were not, and then we buy a new aircraft and continue in that same trajectory, it will not be long when we'll come back to let's buy a new aircraft again. So for now, we need to ascertain what was the maintenance? Were we going according to manufacturers' dictates, manufacturers' recommendations? People who were working on these aircraft, were they certified by the manufacturer to do so? And then we can move from there. Without that, it will be premature now to say, let's go and buy a new one.
Another debate around having a presidential jet or otherwise is the cost involved in traveling with or without one. The president recently has been traveling on commercial flights. The former president used to charter private jets, and it became a controversial issue in this country. Have you done some analysis, cost-benefit analysis as a bureau, to find out which one is better for us, for presidents to fly commercially or to fly privately? Now, consider this for me both on the security level and also on commercial or cost of flying for us.
Well, for starters, the closest the Bureau came to, maybe I shouldn't say the Bureau, but I personally came to was, I think, a couple of years back, 2 or so years back, that I wrote an opinion piece on presidential travel. That's as far as we have come to making any serious analysis on whether we need a new one or not. But if you ask me, the cost of presidential travel vis-a-vis whether they travel on a commercial flight or on a private dedicated presidential aircraft, I think it's for national security to do. Because when you talk about cost in presidential travels, it's not just fiscal cost or economic cost. There are other costs that may not appeal to the ordinary man. Okay, security is involved. So what is the cost, the security cost? What is the economic cost? What is national prestige cost? All of these are things that must be considered. We have maintained that if Ghana thinks that they need a new presidential jet, it is something that must be considered in full transparency and sensitivity, because as a country, we are, and this argument is not new. We've been through this argument every regime under the Fourth Republic. We went through it with Rawlings under the Fokker, went through it with Kufuor, went through it with Nanado, and we're going through it with JM #2. So by this time, I think that the state or the powers that be, the Ghana Armed Forces, should know that every time a new presidential jet topic comes up, we, as a nation, sometimes we split over it. It's a very sensitive matter, considering that there are other, pressing needs, like huge public debt that we need to take care of. There are competing needs in health. There are competing needs in education. There are competing needs in public safety, police response time, Ghana National Fire Service. There are so many needs that we need to balance in order to do this. So that justification must be grounded in data and science. Do we have that justification available to the Ghanaian people? If we don't have it, then we will be going through the same cycle we go through every now and then. If you ask me personally, and at this point, let me, dissociate myself from the Bureau. And so, just so you don't go out and say the Bureau of Public Safety thinks so. This is my opinion. My opinion is that the government or the state must publish records of these aircraft. How have we maintained the aircraft according to manufacturer standards? Are the recurring faults due to age, misuse, or poor maintenance planning? Is there value for money analysis comparing refurbishment versus replacement? Is Ghana leveraging international technical audits before committing to such major expenditure? And if we cannot provide direct answers to these questions, then it's not time for us to even start the discussion at all. What we have is what we must make use of.
In the diplomatic and international relations circle, do presidential jets matter? The Air Force One is a big deal. We do know that there are actually even two. There's one that travels with the Beast and all of those things. Is it a big deal for a country to have a presidential jet, or this is just simply a patriotic thing that we don't really have to waste money on?
This question is another subjective one. What is a big deal? A big deal is making sure that the safety and security of your people is secure. The big deal is that you are providing for the needs of the people. So, I mean, at no point will a presidential jet be a big deal, but the dynamics are such that sometimes, depending on the geopolitics, for instance, if our president was the Burkina Faso president, considering everything going on right now, there is no way that any serious-minded person will say he should travel commercial. So there are considerations that national security would have to make, and I think that those considerations must, to a large extent, be transparent, considering also the sensitivities of other competing needs. The president can travel, and he must travel in safety. If the Ghana Armed Forces thinks that, look, running just one aircraft puts undue pressure on one aircraft, so we need two so that we can balance, when to use which one and, use them for a longer period. Why not? They should put down the figures for us to see. If we think that, look, the president flying commercial, with all the security considerations, is okay, he can fly commercial, we have what it takes to provide for a security cover on commercial flights, why not? But here again, I want to defer this to national security, because the Queen of England occasionally flies commercial.
The king now.
Yes, the king now, sorry, the king flies commercial. I mean, if the King of England flies commercial, why can't any head of state fly commercial? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's absolutely important that that consideration is made within the context of our geopolitical standing.
Very well. Nana, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
That's Nana Yawakwada. He is Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety. This is Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 Television. We move to some other stories now, and the World Health Organization reports that non-communicable diseases, NCDs, account for 43% of all deaths in Ghana. These illnesses, such as diabetes, obesity, and hypertension, are on the rise. But could front-of-pack warning labels help reverse this trend? Channel 1 News' Manuel Ayama takes a closer look at the influx of unhealthy, densely packaged foods on store shelves, many of which lack clear nutritional warnings, and has this report.
Jobless Boache was just 15 when he was diagnosed with diabetes during a nationwide health screening for senior high school students in 2015.
A team of medical staff went to my school. They checked the blood glucose of the entire student population. They realized that my sugar was shockingly high. It was 14.9 then. I think the ideal sugar level at that period was less than 6.5.
New to the disease and unsure what it all meant, he simply nodded along to the diagnosis and everything that followed.
How was the feeling like? How did you take the news?
Honestly, then, I don't know how I reacted. I didn't understand it. I was confused. I didn't understand the whole thing about a young boy being diabetic. Then I've heard about diabetes, but then all I knew was elderly people, my grandparents being diabetic. I've never heard anyone my age being a diabetic. So initially I was confused then, yeah. But then the Dr. Salia, the doctor that diagnosed me, tried to explain what the condition was to me. All I was saying was, okay.
Unlike Jobless, who has type 1 diabetes, many Ghanaians, especially children, are increasingly being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which is largely linked to unhealthy eating habits, including high sugar intake.
For children with diabetes, the diagnosis is usually made very late. In fact, sometimes it's when they come into hospital with a complication, a very severe complication that can lead to death. That's when we make the diagnosis. And so in terms of the knowledge gap, we have that in the population because they don't know what is going on with the child. They go from one place to the other.
For health stakeholders, front-of-pack warning labels could be part of the solution. These labels use simple, easy-to-read graphics to show whether a product contains high levels of sugar, salt, or saturated fat, helping consumers make quick, informed decisions.
the cost of addressing these challenges, especially these NCDs, are very high. Importantly, it affects strongly the growth of the country's economy, the productive resources in terms of human capacity and all that are really affected. And so for us to make progress and really improve our gains, we need policies such as the front of pack labeling policies.
In my hand is a very popular Ghanaian beverage, often taken by children in Ghana. But that's what I would like to do. I would like to check the amount of sugar in it. And reading from the nutritional information label, it says here that the sugar contained in this beverage is 33 grams. Now, 33 grams translated into the number of cubes is 7 to 8. Now imagine 7 to 8 sugar cubes per 7 in a beverage drink. And this is like a frequent daily beverage choice for a lot of Ghanaians, especially children. The Food and Beverages Association of Ghana says it is open to the idea. However, it insists that acceptable nutritional standards must first be defined.
If the regulator is telling you that, for instance, there's so much salt in a particular product, how do we ensure that this product that I'm presenting contains the level of sugar that is acceptable? And if it's acceptable, this must come from the authority, the standards that we have, like within the codex area, where we pick information to do whatever we have to do.
A very, very good idea. Nankaya de nchoye no ba young parents no, and I even kola no cry omo winning kakra no. Omo reading no muti asiye very good. And young parents no.
Recently, non-communicable diseases have been on the rise in Ghana, especially among children. Could front warning labels on products be the solution? Reporting for Channel 1 News, I am Manuel Ayama.
And here in our studios at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane at Tesano in Accra, I am Umaru Sandama. You are watching Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 Television. Still ahead. Chiefs and people of Agodeke in the Afram Plains North District of the Eastern Region call for urgent government intervention as faulty ferry disrupts business and travel. More on that when we return. Please stay with us.
I didn't know when you just assassin.
But say if one the home fasoning ya empra and fear.
Ah, na you won't hear me. And I didn't tell me in fear.
That's me to me a man and your best way. Who bet to me a cool. Mr. Davy.
Hey Ghana, so you people know Miss Brother Man Small. If you it's your boy. Kill them all. But this time, I'm not only killing mosquitoes, I am killing the grades. See? This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the perfect mosquito-free atmosphere. Thank you, Out Insecticide. And yeah, Out Mosquito Coil. For a mosquito-free atmosphere, trust Out to... You are not serious.
Out Insecticide. So ya boa, faha.
You're welcome back to Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 Television. Now, chiefs, residents and traders in and around Agodeke, a farming community in the Afram Plains North District of the Eastern Region, have been gripped with fear following the recent boat disasters recorded on the Volta Lake. The only ferry that transports them to Kwando has been faulty for the past month, leaving them to travel in wooden boats and canoes without life jackets. They have therefore made an urgent appeal to government and the Volta Lake Transport Company to urgently repair or replace the ferry on Volta Lake, which has broken down for over a month now. There's more in this report by Channel 1 News' Neo Ni Amate Kanako.
The Afram Plains Enclave continues to be a major food basket for the country as lands in the area support farming and agriculture, which drives every country's economy. Farmers, traders, and residents in the Afram Plains North area, specifically Agodeke and its island communities, have been at the back end due to the breakdown of the Oli ferry, which also happens to be the safest mode of transport on the Volta Lake. The residents and traders who define the current situation as that are demanding an immediate government intervention to ease their burden.
And this is where people travel to Pando Toko. And then the means of traveling is by using the ferry. And it is rather unfortunate that for 1 month, 2 weeks now, the engine of the ferry has broken down and the ferry is no longer working. And this has posed a lot of threats to travelers who travel by the lake. So we are appealing to the government to provide the necessary resources to make sure that the ferry can get back to work so that it will aid people who travel from here to the Volta region, since people travel in fear and panic.
I'm a boat driver, staying at Agodeke here. But I have a lot of goodness for the ferry, how the ferry was helping all of us. But as the ferry was spoiling, why did not Volta Lake people could not do anything better to help the ferry?
Okay, so do you have a life jacket on this boat?
I don't think that. I'm not working with this one.
Okay.
Mine is this frame.
Do you have life jacket?
I'm not having it.
So why?
It depends on the government. As soon as the ferry was not working, they have to help us to have a jacket to be helping passengers.
The absence of the ferry has forced commuters to rely on wooden boats and canoes, an option they describe as unsafe and risky, especially because passengers travel about 23 nautical miles without life jackets. Nana Akuyamwa Boatentano II is the chief of Donko Chrome No. 1.
America say, Pantun Academ, Pantun is away. A jolly phone aka a soldier. A California manson aprui, Nasafa boat to grab a far, Ubeda and Diaco. Yes, Sray Mahama. I namun suma Pantun by, so one kind. Ede Kaida Wayo, Bra, any tutor in some. Brett is a boatu. A Daniputi, my nipper or her near Diana near Chick, actually one crown. Now a Fram Prince, ye near at Tokotomo Jam. You are Lawrence and a better tree, right? And a Mahama and Sunadauroma. Umuya Mobo, a Pantui brain. Pantui, because I knew Juma, I'm a boy, Juma. Now, so, Macassa negligence. And Yama Sassia Yama Pantun to Mijina, a Yana Juman, Yen, a bini saying, a bini landing. Sanka Pantun were a very good landing, and Kanyana say a net at a tia pansami. Sanka Yutmidi, Inji Mununi, Juma said you Brunini, and can also Uncle Banessa.
April 5, 1995. It's a day that brings bad memories to residents and family members who lost about 140 people after a passenger boat capsized on the Afram River on the same Agodeke to Pando route. To prevent a recurrence of this unfortunate national disaster, an advocacy group known as the Concerned Citizens of Kowu Afram Plains North held a press conference after visiting the graveyard to pay homage to the 140 lives that perished in 1995. Awudu Yakubu Omoru Modek is the spokesperson for the group.
Na be mfie be miensani panto na ewa ha no de bia nena ase ochina na problem aba ntini ntimi yusu eno nti enese ye hia ye pese ye ma ebo Volta Lake Transport ene Ghana for ne aban say sa asemi high empire fi say ama Jumedu a ye maame no ma omotonton oniema afri kwando ni Agodeke Afram Plains no ene ekuafo nu ba ni nyina aka nwurem esaka ho ne se bɛyɛ mfeɛ aduasani a nipa ɔha ni aduanan ewu wɔ saa nsuo wɔ so wɔ boat accident ɛno koraa yɛ nipa a yɛsi yɛakan wɔm na yɛnhu wɔn deɛ yɛntumi nka ho asɛm nti yɛsrɛ ɔmampani John Mahama ɔno a na ɛde saa Ferry brɛ 2016 ɔtena so koraa kɔ Kpando na sɛ sɛ Ferry no ewu nti yɛpa no kyɛw ɔmmoa na yɛnya Ferry foforɔ na saa asɛm na ɛsi 1995 no ɛnsɛ nsi biom efisɛ yɛmpɛ sɛ ebesi ne asan ba ha sɛ awo nke yɛnim a mo nyinaa mo nhyɛ de yɛmpɛ sɛ obi abɛsa ahyɛ de biom.
Covering 23 nautical miles on the Volta Lake in a wooden boat without life jackets is alarming, unsafe, and can best be described as a ticking timing bomb waiting to explode. Therefore, a swift response from authorities is imperative to prevent a possible national disaster.
Environmental health officers in the Sechura Plains district of the Ashanti region are attributing the rise in typhoid and dysentery cases in the area to the absence of potable water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities. About 20 communities in the area lack these basic facilities, resulting in typhoid surpassing malaria cases in the district. Channel 1 News' Bureau Chief for the Middle Belt, Hafiz Tijani, reports.
Drobonso, the district capital, and major communities like Dagomba, Atakra, Nyamebetre, and several others lack basic sanitation and hygiene facilities. These facilities are absent in households, schools, and marketplaces. District environmental analyst paints a grim picture of how the absence of these facilities is threatening the general well-being of inhabitants.
Because we did a sample survey a bit in the district capital of 300 houses, and the 300 houses, it will interest you to know that less than 30 houses or households seem to have something of or some kind of a sanitary facility to manage, place of convenience. Out of 300, you are looking at less than 30 people or 30 households having this. So it means the situation is dire than we think. The common diseases that we are recording is majority diarrheal cases, typhoid is on the rise. So, and dysentery, these are the cases. See, they are chasing malaria.
The Sechura Plains district has a population of over 32,000 engaged in farming, livestock rearing, and trading. But access to potable water coupled with poor sanitation, high open defecation, weak hygiene practices, and inadequate waste management infrastructure pose major challenges to these communities. The district is, however, set to benefit from an intervention by World Vision Ghana under its Wash for Improved Health project.
Even though per landmass it seems to be the biggest district in the region, it is also unfortunately the poorest in the region. And so if you look at water access, sanitation, their data, everything shows that they are the most vulnerable district in the region. And so that is why World Vision is working there.
In terms of feasibility, it is feasible because we are not doing it alone. We are doing it in partnership with the local government, the Sechura Plains District Assembly, other partners, regional coordinating council as well, and then other development partners working within the district. We join our hands and then implement together. The MOU that we just signed also signifies the collaborative effort that we are all bringing together to achieve this objective.
The project will address the challenges of over 25,000 individuals across 19 communities, 4 health facilities, and 19 schools in the Sechura Plains district. Officials of the Sechura Plains District Assembly and the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council pledged their support for the project's implementation after they signed a memorandum of understanding with World Vision Ghana and its partners.
They left the district, and ever since we haven't had any proper sort of development aside what the government has been doing. And as they are coming back again, I believe with the help of this NGO, which is World Vision, based on what they've done before, I believe they are going to help improve the hygiene and then the water issues we are facing currently.
Our support is we can give in terms of training, advice, and technical backstopping. We are there to provide for the project to do well. I mentioned that I and my officers, we are ready to support the project to come to a better end.
The project, which will enhance the protection of vulnerable children and their communities through the provision of sustainable access to safe water, improved sanitation, and hygiene facilities, is expected to be completed by 2029.
Authorities and environmental health officers in the Setre Afram Plains district are painting a bleak picture on the sanitation situation in the area, but are hopeful intervention will ensure this situation is addressed. Hafiz Tijani, Channel 1 News, Kumasi, Ashanti Region.
Now, in the wake of the destruction of several forest reserves by illegal miners, the European Union in Ghana has awarded a €2.4 million grant to support 4 forest restoration projects across the country. Stakeholders are optimistic that this intervention will not only help restore degraded forest reserves, but also improve the livelihoods of farmers living within the affected areas. Channel 1 News' Ashanti Regional correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim reports.
Ghana's forest reserves have come under severe threats from the activities of illegal miners, popularly known as galamsey, in several forests in the Ahafo, Boni East, Upper East and Western regions. The situation has been further compounded by illegal logging and recurring wildfires. To help tackle this challenge, the European Union has provided €2.4 million in grants to 3 not-for-profit organizations to support the restoration of about 5,000 hectares of forests. According to the head of infrastructure and sustainable development at the EU delegation to Ghana, the increasing degradation of forest reserves poses serious risk to ecosystems, local economies and surrounding communities and must therefore be addressed urgently.
The European Union is happy to back Ghana's forest restoration policy and is happy to contribute to the government efforts to achieve the sustainable development, and the forests are part of it. Forests are the life, the vital source of livelihood and opportunity of livelihoods for many people, also supporting conservation of biodiversity and stabilizing the climate. And this is why the European Union works with the European Forestry Institute. And through the European Forestry Institute, we have granted €2.4 million in grants to four local CSOs to help the communities restore the forests and restore the landscapes.
Speaking on the sidelines of the project's launch, she added that the initiative also includes building the capacity of 20,000 farmers in rural communities to help improve their livelihoods.
Well, as the ultimate outcome, those 4 projects are aiming at achieving at least the restoration of at least 5,000 hectares of restored forests and helping at least 20,000 farmers to engage in the activities around the forestry, being this ecotourism, beekeeping, and we expect from communities to see the value in the forest and see the value in preserving the trees for them, for their livelihood opportunities and for the future generations.
Stakeholders say this project will not just help restore forest reserves, but will also help improve the livelihoods of farmers within the area. For Channel 1 News, I am Fatih Amin Ibrahim, Ashanti Region.
This is still the Channel 1 Newsroom on Channel 1 Television. We'll take a break now. When we return, Channel 1 TV correspondents secure major wins at the Northern Ghana Journalists Association Awards. We have that when we return. Please stay with us.
Making and selling. In Africa, too hard? Not anymore.
Afro-quality. Buy African, build Africa.
Hey, Ghana. So you people know Miss Brother once more. If you it's your boy. Kill them all, kill them all. But this time, I'm not only killing mosquitoes, I am killing the greats. See? This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have the perfect mosquito-free atmosphere. Thank you, Out Insecticide. And yeah, Out Mosquito Pearl. For a mosquito-free atmosphere, trust Out to... You are not serious.
Out Insecticide. So ya boa, faha.
You're welcome back. Now, overcrowding at Avweme Basic School in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region is severely affecting both pupils and teachers, with classrooms meant for 40 to 50 children now holding nearly 100. Movement in class is almost impossible, limiting teachers' ability to monitor students and slowing academic progress. Pupils describe the environment as uncomfortable and distracting, while the school's uncompleted and weakening 12-unit block continues to worsen the pressure on available space. Our correspondent in the Volta region is Desmond Selasiago.
The Avweme Basic School in the Ketu South municipality is grappling with severe congestion as classrooms built to accommodate a maximum of 40 to 50 pupils now hold close to 100 learners. The situation has left both students and teachers struggling to cope. A Channel 1 news visit during instructional hours revealed classrooms packed to capacity, with pupils squeezed together and teachers barely able to navigate the narrow walkways to monitor lessons effectively. Many pupils say the congestion affects their concentration and overall performance. For Deborah Alaglo, class prefect of JHS 2A, the daily experience is unbearable. She says the lack of space makes learning uncomfortable and sometimes chaotic.
We are plenty in the class, and the people, our students are talking. We want to finish the building first so that we can move some of our base to the top, so that the learning can be easy for us to start.
Beyond overcrowding, the school faces an even more pressing challenge. The school's 12-unit one-story classroom block, which began years ago, remains uncompleted. Several pillars have weakened over time, leaving the structure unstable and raising concerns about the safety of learners and staff who rely heavily on the available but limited space. Some students who also spoke to Channel 1 News called for immediate intervention, noting that the worsening condition make learning increasingly difficult.
The video should come with their plates. We don't know if the teacher is teaching, we don't understand the teaching. We are plenty and heat can into the class. We want fun. We want the roofers. And we have the government to complete the.
They are very plenty in the class, so we wanted the building to be completed fast so that our classes will be, the learning in the class will be very easy and faster for us to learn.
Headmaster of the school, William Katamini, says completing the stalled project is the only sustainable solution, stressing that the new block will significantly ease congestion and improve academic outcomes across all levels of the school.
In this, we are facing that the schools are overcrowded in the classroom. It affects teaching and learning in the school. So we appeal to the GS to come to our intervention. The 6-unit classroom is completed. It will help us for effective teaching and learning to go on in the school, and to help the students and the teachers too.
In an attempt to tackle the long-standing challenge, Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Ablaji Fagumashi, has cast sword for the continuation of the project. She reaffirmed her commitment to improving educational infrastructure and expressed confidence that the completion of the new block will drastically reduce the burden on overcrowded classrooms.
Once I became a Member of Parliament, I decided to save one-third of whatever money I get from the Get Fund, from the Common Fund, to continue on the project that was started by my predecessor here as a sitting MP, to continue with the projects that have stalled. And I'm hoping that it will ease the pressure on the classroom. Some classrooms have over 100 students in a classroom. I mean, really, what kind of teaching can go on in that environment? So it's a headache that we've carried for a long time, and I thank God for the opportunity to do something about it.
Addressing allegations surrounding the 90,000 Ghana cedi received from the National Lottery Authority, the MP clarified that she did not use a dime for personal benefits. She stated that the funds were used to remodel the Anuenu Health Center and other facilities, equipping them to meet the reproductive health needs of residents.
So the report that I got 90,000 cedis and I've spent it cannot be true. They know what the structure was like. It was a one-room structure that we redid. In fact, we took off the whole roofing and rebuilt it again. So the 90,000 was not even enough to finish the project. So I took a little bit of my money again, that's for the NHIA, to top up, to be able to do the work that you see behind me.
Reporting for Channel 1, my name is Desmond Salasako.
Now, former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has paid glowing tributes to the late former Vice President Alhaji Aliu Mahama, describing him as generous, warm, and a man of unwavering integrity who served as a strong pillar for both the New Patriotic Party (NPP) and the nation. He fondly recalled how the former Vice President, who served under the Kufuor administration's home, often became a welcoming retreat for party members after long and demanding political campaigns. Daniel Oduro-Mensah has more in this report.
Born on 3rd March 1946, Alhaji Aliu Mahama passed away on 16th November 2012, marking 14 years since his death. A trained engineer, he served as Vice President under former President John Agyekum Kufuor. After 2 terms in office, he contested the NPP's presidential primaries in December 2007, but did not secure the party's nomination, after which he stepped back from frontline politics. He died at age 66 from a heart-related condition and complications from a stroke. Speaking at the 13th commemorative Adwa held in his honor, former President Akufo-Addo described his passing as painfully sudden.
His house was where we would all go and socialize and eat. And he was a most generous and hospitable host. And from that time until we met in government and afterwards, we maintained close friendship. This was a very honorable, respectable man, a man of great integrity, who worked very hard for our country. His death continues to be a matter of profound sadness for me. He went far too early, but that is the way of God. He will call us when he is ready, not when we are ready.
Former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also paid tribute, recalling the fatherly guidance Aliu Mahama offered him.
I knew as a child growing up in Tamale. He used to visit my late father quite often when he was in the university. I think he was tech, studying, I think in construction or something, engineering. He came home often, and then later on he was the managing director of State Construction Corporation in Tamale. And I used to look forward to his visits to our home, where he would come and pay courtesy calls on my father. The reason I looked forward to it was that he would not leave without giving us some money.
Farouk Aliu Mahama, son of the late Vice President, described the bond between his father and Nana Akufo-Addo as deeply cordial.
Mr. President, I want to say, and I'm saying on authority, that since the demise, or even before the demise of my late father, you've always see me and call me my good friend. You've never called me by my name, Farouk. And that has been all these years. I remember when my late father died, my wedding, you and Dr. Mahmoud Baumia graciously honored the wedding to present my late father at State House in 2024. Mr. President, the state funeral you attended to support our father, and this is also important for the whole world to know, because if anybody does something to your family, it's important to be acknowledged. Mr. President, I can confidently say I was sitting by with my mom till her death, and I know the millions of state money you sacrificed for her from London till the last drop, you and the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia.
Now, two journalists with Channel 1 TV and CTFM in the northern region, Mohammed Aminu M. Alabira and Shawana Yusuf, have been honored at the 5th Northern GJA Awards held in Tamale. One of them, the bureau chief for the North, Shawana Yusuf, put together a report about what happened last night.
Mohammed Aminu M. Alabira, the station's Northeast Regional Correspondent, won the Road Safety Reporter of the Year, while Shawana Yusuf, Northern Bureau Chief, received the Best Reporter in Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. 9 other journalists were also awarded in various categories. Speaking on the theme, Bridging the Urban-Rural Education Gap, the Role of the Media, the Minister for Education, who was a special guest of honor, urged the media to highlight the educational disparities between the northern and southern Ghana. He encouraged journalists to use their platforms to advocate for quality education in most remote communities.
Bridging the rural-urban education gap, the role of the media. There is, and there exists, a worrying disparity in the provision of quality education between rural and urban Ghana, northern and southern Ghana, and then urban and rural areas. It exists. Yours as media is to mirror the wrongs and air the wrongs and advocate for policy change for the better delivery of quality education. Therefore, you could not have chosen a better team than looking at the provision of education, which remains the bedrock of our future's development.
He further expressed concern about the widening inequalities facing schools in the northern regions compared to their counterparts in the south, emphasizing that the Savannah, Northeast, OT, and Western North regions continue to face serious challenges. According to him, although the free senior high school policy has improved literacy and numeracy nationwide, its challenges have not been adequately highlighted by the media.
If you take quality rural-urban education, and thankfully our chairman is one of the far-reaching best education resource we have in the region. So he has a better understanding of the issues I intend to relate to you. As we speak in Ghana, there is no category A school, senior high school, in the whole of Northeast region. No category A school in Savannah region. No category A school in OT, and no category A school in Western North. Evidence of the disparity. Yet, they are supposed to write the same West African school certificate exams.
Well, that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Channel 1 Newsroom. Visit our website, channel1newsonline.com, for information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to Channel 1 TV on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Channel 1 TV. Download the Channel 1 TV app on the Google Play Store and the App Store for more news. I am Umaru Sandamado. Thank you so much for watching us.